Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Today we are here with another interesting panel discussion on role of youth in environment conservation. So let's have a nice discussion, and we welcome you all to the EcoPeace Team Cafe, EcoPeace Global Summit, and we are very grateful to our supporting organization United Religions Initiative, EarthCharter International, Euphrates Institute, and the Pollination Project. So today we have Arya Meher. She is joining us from India, and she is the moderator of our today's session. And we have Bharath, Govind, Grace, Patience, and Victor. So let's hear from them. So Arya, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Greshma. Hello all. I'm really happy to be in the incredible company of this wonderful guest we have. So I would really like to introduce our guests. Am I audible well?
Yes, yeah.
So we have Grace Shillong, and she's a climate change advocate, educator, researcher, and she focuses on educating young girls. I'm really happy to have Grace with us today. So I welcome Grace to the panel. And we have Bharath Govind. He's an environmentalist, peer educator, and he's a CEO of Climatehood Foundation. And he has recently got European Climate Pact Ambassador, and congratulations, Bharath, for that. And he's also a climate ambassador of India by Global Youth Climate Network of World Bank. And he's also a disaster management professional and a researcher. I welcome Bharath to the panel.
Thank you.
And we have Shumbusho Patience joining us. He's an author, conservation artist, and he's also CEO of Eco Arts. And he focuses on sustainable conservation and environmental heritage. I welcome Shumbusho to our panel.
Thank you very much.
And we have Victor Mathew, and he's also like our EcoPeace volunteer. So really happy to have Victor also in our panel. He's a climate change activist, environmental educator, EarthCharter Young Leader, and he's also a graduate fellow of GreenFaith International. He focuses on community building, and he's really interested in storytelling. So I welcome Victor also to the panel.
Sure.
So I would really like to start our discussion by asking you, like, what is biodiversity conservation to you all? And how do you think that the role of youth, or how do you think youth is very important in this? So if you can raise your hand, who's going first voluntarily, or I can ask.
So, may I answer?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, biodiversity conservation is really important because we are also part of this biodiversity. We, the human beings, are also part of this human biodiversity. So nowadays, we the human beings are negatively impacting the entire biodiversity. So because if you consider the world scenarios, as UN also says that our biodiversity is decreasing day by day, and all the plant species or animal species are every year, if you are seeing the state of biodiversity, we are seeing species extinction every year, in case of the plant species as well as the animal species. So for the conservation of biodiversity, we have to act, and that's what I would say. And over to others. Yeah.
Would you like to add something, Grace?
Oh yes. So I would say, okay, let me just I should start by giving a name, the meaning of biodiversity to me. So when I talk about biodiversity, to me it means the protection of the biodiversity, the conservation of the biodiversity, and the management of the biodiversity. So we do all this, we do protection, we do conservation and management in order to obtain sustainable benefits for the future generation. So when I talk about the importance of biodiversity, just so broad, just so many, but I'll just say wildlife, for example, when we talk about biodiversity, we talk about all this wildlife, including animals and everything else. So, for example, wildlife supports healthy ecosystem that we rely on. So human beings rely on ecosystem. Yeah, so we should all bear in mind that when we talk about the wildlife it doesn't need us, but we need the wildlife. We need the biodiversity for us to survive as the humankind. Yeah, so that's the first benefit. Another benefit we can say about, we can talk about keeping, in order to keep the biodiversity intact, it will help a human being to stay healthy. So when I talk about the health of human being, we rely on the biodiversity. So we really need biodiversity in each and every activity, in each and every human activity. When you're staying, we all say in our homes, if you can see your home, it's built by the biodiversity. So biodiversity is essential part of the humanity. So we didn't need biodiversity, but biodiversity doesn't need us, but we need it for us to survive. So in short, that's what I'm going to say. Thanks.
Thank you, Grace. You took the ecological aspect also. What is your opinion?
Okay, I don't know if I'm audible enough.
Yes, you are audible.
All right, I just want to second the definition that has been provided by Grace, to say, by saying biodiversity conservation, we mean we are looking at the conservation, the protection and the management of the biodiversity, whereby we are biodiversity species, whereby we are looking at whatsoever is surrounding us. Specifically, maybe we can look at environment, that is as per our suggested area on whatever living things that are that surround us. We are created to be around us because they are essential for us. So if you follow the Bible, for those who are Christians, God created those things before us because he knows that without those things we cannot survive. So he created them for the benefit of us, not creating us for the benefit of them. So it's the responsibility of us actually to take care of them, because they are for the sustainability of us. So by conserving them, we try to keep our surrounding, or to keep the environment that is around us being good for the benefit of ourselves. So it's really very important for our health, for whatsoever things that we rely on, because without them we have no society, and without them we won't exist. That's what I can add on that.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Thank you for joining us. Mr. Wilson is joining us from I don't know where, but he's also taking a really keen interest in, saying about the ecosystem, biodiversity and all. And I would really like to hear from Patience. What is biodiversity for him?
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes,
okay.
Patience.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Yes, for us as a, I'm not about what my neighbors say, but what I can say is that biodiversity is life. What you see surrounding us. So without biodiversity, no life, of course. So I think my neighbors has explained men in a good way. So even the God before create human, just create all those things, all the natures. So that's why nature, when we talk about nature, talk about biodiversity. Biodiversity is life. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Patience. I think your voice was breaking. I think I think in the as the discussion goes on, your network will be okay.
Okay.
So Victor.
Okay. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm sure everyone can hear me clearly, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. When we talk of youth and biodiversity, the concept of biodiversity is life itself. That is what holds life together. So as men, as human, it's our responsibility to take care of the other biodiversity which we are involved in. So we have a great role to play. And since youth is known for strength, it means we have key role to play in making sure that the biodiversity is managed, is conserved, and is sustained for the future generation. If we can have this perspective well defined, I think we are on the right track in bringing sustainability into reality. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Victor. I would really like to ask Bharath this, that as a young person, I know personally, like when you have started Climatehood, it was when maybe in your like early 20s and all. So as a person who has engaged in climate education and conservation, how important is environmental education for you, and how the Climatehood and other initiatives you have started have helped in it also?
Yes, yeah, we actually launched this climate education in 2018 because, whenever I was working with the district administration of like, that is with the government, government part, like government agency, like district administration or district collector of Thiruvananthapuram district of Kerala. So we realized the importance of, environmental education or climate education among the general public as well as student community, because what we have seen is, there is a careless behavior from the, citizen, because what I believe is every initiative should be citizen centric, and it should be like a citizen initiative. That's how we the district collector, the administrator, she launched. There is no a domain for the government to take up initiative on climate change, but she herself initiated like change can change climate change, because that kind of initiative could make some difference in the citizen. That's what she aimed for, and we, the youngsters, with her tried. We tried many projects with the general public, like for especially for their behavioral change. The first thing started when I was studying my bachelor's, like in 2015. And on that time, we conducted national games in a green protocol. The term green protocol introduced by by the state of Kerala towards the global community. Like we could reduce waste in a bigger event. So we realized the importance of this climate education, and UNESCO is also proposing the importance of climate literacy among the citizens, because we know anyway, like we have been studying from our lower primary education that we have to conserve the environment and everything we are studying, but we don't know the impact of our consumer culture. That's what I would like to stress upon, because we don't know the impact of our consumer culture, and in connection with that, we are the world is always talking about circular economy, circularity, everything the world is talking about. It is always related to our our behaviors only. So if we are changing our behavior, we can indirectly or directly contribute to climate action. That's what I believe. Whatever action you are taking in a smaller level, it can be considered as climate action. So we have conducted activity linked climate education in the institutions and in the nooks and corners of Kerala, and we could conduct global climate education month all across. We could coordinate this climate education campaign like different continents also in 2019. So there is a big change among the student community, as well as the whatever audience we have addressed. We could see the change in their behavior, or we could see some action. So that's what I believe, because if you educate the people, educate people in a in a proper way or in a scientific way, they can also do action. Your small actions can always contribute to bigger. Like as the global leaders say, like think global and act local. So that's how we did all these things. And thank you.
That is wonderful, Bharath. Actually, I like your point, and I really, go by that, because really small changes can make very big effect on environment. And also, as we say about consumerism and how people are not really stressing on environment and all, it is definitely giving a human environmental relations. We are not seeing that. finally. So I would really like to ask Grace, as she is working and she had her research on human environmental relationships, especially on Malawi. So can you please share with us human environmental relations in Malawi and the role of youth in it, Grace?
All right, thank you so much for this time. Please allow me not to use my video because of network. I'm facing intermittent network right now, so please forgive me on that. Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. So, all right, thank you. So, on that, I would say like, okay, I'm based in Malawi, but I will not just favor Malawi, but maybe I'll be talking on the African level, that is. So when I talk about the human environmental relation interactions, it's a phenomenon. To me, it's a phenomenon which explains like how humans interact with the environment to fulfill their needs and how the environment responds to the interactions. So in the context of Malawi, and of course in the whole Africa, like humans, they depend on nature. And most in our areas, people they fully depend on nature. For example, I've got people who are burning charcoal just to feed themselves. We have got women who are spending their life to go into the mountains to cut down the trees just to feed themselves. So to them, like for example, talking about the wildlife, in this case, what we are focusing on the environment, trees and the trees, more especially trees. People are cutting down each and every day trees just to feed themselves. But when it comes to take care of the environment, it's just quite hard to them. Like it doesn't matter whether they are contributing to deforestation, but when it comes to reforestation, yeah, it's quite challenging. It's very, very quite challenging. But of course, nowadays we are seeing like other organizations intervening, involving like youth to be involved in a tree planting. Of course, that is helping. But I would love if each and every individual in Malawi would have had that responsibility of taking part in tree planting activities, or in doing anything that is going to protect our biodiversity. So youth are more important constituency in the conservation of biodiversity, and have got a huge impact on that. So they are why am I saying that they are very important when it comes to conservation of our biodiversity? Because youth are energetic, and of course nowadays youth are more advanced when it comes to technology, so they can even use technology to take care of the environment. We have got the issue of, for example, I'm just giving an example, the issue of drone use. So people nowadays, of course, in Malawi, it has already started. We have got a center here in Lilongwe. That's the capital city of Malawi. There is a school which is providing them the technological know-how how to use the drones in biodiversity conservation. So they are using drones like to monitor the forest. They are using drones to track where to track the dump site and other anything related to biodiversity. So of course I've got some such kind of programs, of which youth they must be on the forefront because they are technological know-how when it comes to the use of technology. In addition to that, they are constantly involved in the biodiversity activities. If you can see, the 90% of the biodiversity activities when it comes to protection and the conservation, they are youth on the forefront, working on the ground, not in decision making, but on the ground. When it comes to implementation, youth are there. So youth are very important when it comes to biodiversity conservation. In addition to that, they are oriented to problem solving. So nowadays, our generation is oriented to problem solving. We are always looking. Okay, fine. So I've seen the message. I'm sorry. I'll make sure to reduce the speed. I'm sorry. Yeah. So I'm saying, when I talk about the human environmental interaction, we are talking about the interaction, like it's a phenomenon which explains like how humans interact with the environment to fulfill their needs, and how the environment responds to the interaction. So I'm saying, like in this case, in the context of Malawi, I'm talking about like issues like how human beings are using the biodiversity. So I'm giving an example, like most of the local communities, they fully depend on the environment. They go into the mountains to cut down trees. They contribute to deforestation just to earn money, to use as a source of firewood. So, like most of the Africans, we are not technologically advanced when it comes to use of electricity when we are cooking our food. Yeah, so that's like most of the Africans, they are fully depending on the environment for the survival. Yeah, so I was saying, like, it's important to involve youth. It's quite important to involve youth when it comes to biodiversity conservation. So why are we involving the youth? The reason behind this, I'm saying it's because youth are so energetic. They are technological experts. They can use technology in the conservation, in the biological conservation. Another example on that is the use of drones. Nowadays, youth in Malawi, they're using drones to monitor the forest, to monitor the biodiversity. Yeah, so another reason why youth are very important is because they are constantly involved. When it comes to for example, we are in the rainy season, whereby the activities, the tree planting activities, are just almost everywhere. So youth are on the forefront when it comes to the activities like tree planting, but they are not involved in decision making. But when it comes to the implementation on the ground, youth are on the forefront. In addition to that, they are oriented in terms of problem solving. We are so challenged. Youth nowadays, they are always challenged. They are always looking forward to solve a problem at hand. So that's why we have to involve the youth. So there is strong comprehension on sustainability, which advocates for the reduction of in footprint and improve quality of life across sector in the industries is essential for the future. So if you need the bright future when it comes to the biological conservation, if you want our children to see this beautiful wild animals, to see this beautiful nature, the youth should be on the forefront to do that. Not on the ground only, but also in terms of what decisions making. The youth should be there as well. So hence, it's important for the organization or anybody who have got that responsibility, who have got that capacity to educate and to inform on the dependence of biodiversity for survival. So Grace Chongo, I do work on that. I always go into the communities and educate people and educate people, inform people about the dependence on the biodiversity. How are they dependent on them? Just to show them they do those activities already, but maybe they don't know. So it's my role. That's what I always do, to go into the communities and tell them about how they are dependent on biodiversity. In addition to that, I have also to show them like what will happen if they don't take a responsibility of taking care of the biodiversity that they are using constantly. So, and another example, when it comes to the biodiversity now responding to what humanity is doing on the environment, we have got, for example, extreme weather events like floods. Recently, we had the cyclone Anna, which hits part of the southern region, and some people lost their lives. So this is one of the respondents like to how biodiversity responded to us if we are not taking care of it. So we had the blackouts all over the Malawi because we have contributed so much when it comes to deforestation. So in short, that's what I'm going to say. Like humanity depends fully on the biodiversity, but still more. We are not able to take care of the biodiversity in order for the diversity to take care of us. So as the results, we are experiencing extreme weather events like floods, like droughts all over the world, over the Africa and the worldwide, of course. So that's what I'm going to say in a brief. Please forgive me for being a fast speaker. Please forgive me. I hope you have grasped something for what I've said so far. Thank you so much.
No, Grace, that was actually really nice to know like how the youth of Malawi are taking part very actively in environmental conservation projects. And also like I would really like to ask Victor also in that line. Like Nigeria is also a country facing a lot of environmental health related risks, right? So what is your experience as an environmental activist and educator in Nigeria?
Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. I'm sure everyone can hear me. Environmental education in Nigeria is pivotal, let me use that statement, in such a way that when the mindset of the people is adjusted, there is high tendency that we channel our energy into the right stuff. And that is what education has come to do. Education is a basic tool that gives us access to liberate people from a wrong perspective, wrong belief culture, and wrong systems that are not supposed to be. So how are we really doing this? We believe that every child is entitled to education. That is one of the key rights to every child as long as you are in Nigeria. I guess that is one of the UN key stuff, and they base on what? Education. Education is key, because if you can achieve more with education, mindsets are transformed. So we've been able to work with these concepts, and over time, I've seen how perspective change. Staying in the north, the northern part of Nigeria is one of the, it has the harsh environment in such a way that the impact of climate change is so real over here due to illegal felling of trees. Industrialization is coming in so thick. So there is scarce tree. And if you know the northern part of Nigeria don't have much tree, then see that most of the trees have been cut down. So there is what the impact of climate change is so real over here. So with that, we knew that we can achieve more with what? Education. So what we did was, okay, we had to organize a lot of programs. I think we had one just concluded, which was the Climate Leadership Fellowship. It's a fellowship program for 1 year where we train teachers in school on the need to let both primary school, secondary school, and higher institution of learning know the impact of climate change. Even as a banker, you're supposed to know how climate change is and where you have your role to play. And at the end of the day, we get them committed. Okay, how many trees will you plant in a particular community? So you see that with this, you're already transforming their minds to let them know that climate change is real, and at the same time, we still have a solution for them. Since you know that when you plant a tree, in return, the tree brings you nature and every dividends entitled to it. So with this, we've been able to achieve more as what? Climate education. Though it's not really rampant in Nigeria, but over time we've tested it and we've seen that the impact of it is, the effectiveness is real. So if one person can plant a tree and we have a school with 300 students, it means at the end of the year, even if there should be, okay, some trees did not survive, we should have at least 100 trees planted per year. And in return, you see that schools have been planting trees in various communities. And these in return have helped gradually. We've not really seen the impact because it's not taken much time. But we are sure that if we can give this a 10 years, 20 years difference, impact will be real. Just like one of the speakers just said, he said, think global, but act local. It means we'll be thinking climate change as a global effect, but we'll have to act locally to make sure that this global impact is being reduced. So in our own way, we've gone various communities. Sometimes we have to do community cleanup. We move from one community to the other to let them know that we are the only one to make this thing reduce. We are the only one to curb the impact of climate change. We have a great role to play. And since we are still young, we have youths, there's more energy in us. It means we have lots of work to do. We can do more. And thanks to Greshma for this wonderful platform. This platform, I'm sure it's transforming mindset of people. It's making us know that we have a great work to do. We have a great role to play to see that not just the biodiversity, but the world at large feels the impact that we have a role to play to curtail the environmental impact. And that is why I chose to be an environmental educator for the past 12 years. And it's been one of the best decisions I've taken with my life to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Victor. Actually, I'm really happy and enriched to know that we are getting the same kind of experiences from the ground, even it is from India, as Bharath have shared his experience, or from states of Africa. We are all getting the same vibe. So it means that globally, this is what we really need to do. Education about environment, climate change, and all. And now I really like to ask Patience also. Like, he's an artist, so he have his focus on. He's also CEO of his this organization called Eco Arts. So I'd really like to know, Patience, like why you choose to link art and environment, especially for sustainability and climate change and all. Patience, if you can hear me.
Okay, yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sure. Can you hear the question?
Yes, I understand.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, as Victor said, when you talk about the education, he said that education is a key. Yes, but also art is the key of education. Actually, here in Rwanda, we are targeting to the young people, so to be engaged in conservation, because when right now we are affecting with the activities which is done with the years ago, but the consequence it's reached to us. So if the situation continue like this, it's going to affect also the future generation, not the present generation only. So that is why what you have done here in Rwanda, more than 3 million children are in primary schools. So, and that is the most, the children is the most who are affected with the climate crisis. So if you don't engage them like today, it's going to be affected by their future. So that's why we try to use art, because the children don't need overall information about biodiversity, because biodiversity is a big project to analyze this, but they need basic information. So that's why we use art in order to provide the message to those children, as well as help to reach to many people. For example, when you talk about art, there's many things. Art, you understand construction, you understand performing art, you understand visual art, you understand literature, we understand many things. So that is why we use those categories of art in order to reach at them at school, so that they can get basic information about environmental protection. And then after, what we do is just train the teachers so that they can help them to practice what they have learned through literature, through visual art, but based on environment. So, and what I can say for us here as a EarthCharter initiative, we work with the community surrounding Rwanda national parks. We have 4 national parks in Rwanda, including Lake Kivu. So what we do is just to prepare the books, children books, which can help to get those basic information about those parks, so that they can read at them at school, not only the children who live in the community surrounding Rwanda National Park. Those books is going to be distributed in all the country, so that every children in Rwanda can have access information about Rwanda National Park. Of course, they need to know what and why, what they need to protect. You can tell the children you need to plant the tree. So why? Why I want to plant the tree? Children don't need to be understand, that when the tree grows, you get rain, when you get rain, you get the fruit. When you get the fruit, the ants or the birds will get where they can live. So those the big information. But when you use the art, you show him the drawing, through those drawing, and then you tell them about the maybe like poems, like a short story about the trees, so that the children can understand what is going about the trees. And then after what you do is just to help him or her to practice what they read or what they said in the artwork. So that is why a art initiative use the art as an approach to lead to all the schools, all the children in primary in Rwandan school as a big approach. It's also facilitates us to use many through slow. We don't need much money to reach those people because we use art which is not consume much money for reaching to those communities. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Patience. Actually, it is a really wonderful job you are doing because it is true that for humanity, even before understanding language, we can definitely understand a picture or the idea behind it. So it is really important to take every possible aspect to make the environment conservation or the climate message to be passed on. That is really good of you. And moving on to Victor. I'm sorry, it's a general question to all as we are celebrating our Interfaith Harmony Week, and many of us are members of URI, and Victor here is a member of GreenFaith. So I'd really like to know, like, how do you see interfaith dialogue helps in environmental conservation? Also, the organizations like URI and GreenFaith and
Okay, thank you so much for this opportunity. A time came where we knew that education won't really give us fast what we are looking for. The reason is there are still parts of Nigeria that are yet to accept education as in, let's do this, especially the northern parts. So what we had to come up with is strategy to penetrate into them to let them know that it's our right to take care of the community. But we don't want to force anybody or to just only give them the fear. If you give people fear for something and they find out the truth, they will tend to misuse it. So we are trying to let them understand, okay, this is it here. This is our key role. So my quest for this kept, and that is how I came with the concept of, okay, we can use religion, but how do we penetrate using religion? So my research continued until I met GreenFaith. So I had to mail them, send them mail. I needed to have more knowledge on how can I get involved in this. I'm a Christian. I want us to see how we can teach me some of these things so that I can teach my community. So it was through there, I became a fellow, and I got to understand the reality, how God has instructed man to take care of the garden, and the earth is our garden. It means we have a great role to play. So it became very easy for me to communicate both to the Muslim, the Christian, and the traditional worshiper on the key role man plays to keep the environment intact. And even it became more easier for me. Since Nigeria is a religious country, it became very easier to preach the environment using religion. And my journey with the GreenFaith International has been a great journey where we've done a lot of program and our focus. So the time came where I had to how do I combine religion and education? So I came with the concept of, okay, we had to go to higher institution of learning, since everybody in school is either a Christian, a Muslim, or an idol worshiper. That is a traditionist. So it means we have to let's go back to the school. Okay, you and you and you, we have a role to play. How can we do this? I think we test run one last year. We did it with one of the biggest polytechnics in Nigeria, the largest polytechnic in West Africa, which is in Nigeria, that is Kaduna Polytechnic. And we were able to plant a lot of trees. Students were ready to commit their time to it. And we achieved a lot. So it came to a point where we see that religion plays a cardinal point in reminding the people that the earth is us. We have a role to play to sustain it. That is the only inheritance we have. Nature has given man everything man needed. It is man's responsibility to conserve and manage and sustain it in such a way that we can have something to leave for our children. I give them instance. We have the oldest tree on the campus there. The tree is around 73 years and it's still healthy. People park their cars under. And I was asking them, how many of the lecturers here were here when they planted the tree? Most of them are already retired. So I told them, you see, the tree gives you much in return. Why the lecturers are even no more here? So why cut down trees? So let's plant more trees. And it was a good initiative. And I look forward to seeing that in our various countries, we can bring up this initiative of going to various campuses to tell them the role religion plays and how we can plant in more trees there. And I think it would be a great opportunity to see that, okay, we came for Eco Pasting Cafe conference, and we've learned a strategy on how we could use religion to foster and build up our perspective to the environmental conservation and biodiversity in general. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Victor. Patience, would you like to add?
What I want to add, yes, it's just plant many trees as possible. It's a good idea. I was reading the chat, and I said that we plant many trees as possible, but the slow is survive. Why? I want to show you some example for what happened here in London. So the youth was meet together, and then they initiate the initiative to plant the tree, but they going to plant those trees at another region. So when they didn't engage the community from that region where they're going to plant the tree, after planting the tree, the people who live that region, they come immediately. So if the cows and the livestock, those cows eat those trees. So it means more than 10,000 trees which has planted, no trees which has grown. So what I think is that, yes, it should be good if we engage local community to be the responsible of planting the tree at the owner area. Instead of telling them, go and plant the tree, no, just plant the tree where you live. So that's what I can add. Thank you.
Thank you, Patience. Grace, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes. Yeah. So what is your opinion on that? Like how interfaith and URI have helped you in your conservation journey?
Can you come again, please?
Yes, I was asking you like how URI and interfaith have helped in your conservation journey.
So as for me, I would say like being a researcher now, I'll talk my part as a researcher now. So I would say like, okay, I also based much of my activity with looking at gender and the environmental management aspect. So I would say first I will start by saying like women traditionally take a wider role than men in community discussions. In the global south, we were talking about the developing countries, like Malawi and the whole Africa, of course. Yeah, so their voices had remained unheard. Yet they have a lot to offer to the conservation, biodiversity conservation. So women have a distinct role, knowledge, experience, and ideas from those of men. And some conservationists, according to my research now, being a researcher and a person who is working in environment, they have begun to believe that their exclusion was hampering the success of some initiatives. I'm talking about those people who are working with the local communities or who are working in biodiversity conservation. So by adopting so-called gendered approach to biodiversity conservation, some organizations now believe that they are improving both environmental and social outcomes. So tactics including ensuring that women are involved in community discussions and in management decisions and creating women's projects that aim to empower women socially through initiatives that also help the environment. But addressing gender in conservation is a delicate task. Of course, practitioners must consider challenges such as women existing workload, men's perception of the approach, and the traditional gender roles and expectations. So I would say, like, to my point now as a researcher and somebody who is interested in environment, what inspired me to start looking at the gender in the conservation? At first, I'll give a background where I'm coming from, because I've spent years of living and working on the environmental conservation initiative in rural communities, of course, especially in my community in Machinga, where we are close to the national park. So through my observation, in the context, it was apparent that men and women interact with their environment and the natural resources differently. They use different resources. They have got different priorities for conservation or resource management. They have got different knowledge about the status of the resources. So at the same point, at the same time, though it also become apparent that women, when it comes to natural resource management and conservation, women are largely absent. For example, with a few exceptions, the community-based forest management in our community. Yeah, so many, when it comes to the working in that forest, men were absent, but women were present. So that's the problem that we have been facing. But at the same time, when it comes to decision making now, men were dominating. So this became a problem when it comes to management decisions, where made that impacted women's lives and livelihood without necessarily taking into consideration their needs and interests. So I saw this applying out in outpass, like for example in fishery management, because we're also living close to Shire River. So where decisions about where and when the fishery should be closed, not of course a fully inclusive process. So the result was that women outpass fisheries were unable to equitably benefit from that management practices. So another question that I'm going to answer now in general is like, why should organizations consider gender in conservation? Or why should individuals like gender activists should also consider gender in conservation? The reason behind is the moral, for which on the basis on the moral imperative, the conservation movement largely aims to protect nature for the well-being of people. So ensuring that the users of natural resources, whether it's men or women, or boys and girls, have got the right opportunities and ability to participate in decision-making and the project affecting those resources in a moral imperative. The ability to participate in decisions that will affect our lives or your life and the livelihood is a fundamental human right. So when we are talking about environmental human rights, everyone has got that right to have the ability to participate in decisions making, which is lacking here in developing countries and of course in Malawi. So on the conservation effectiveness, it is fairly well understood within a conservation that good stakeholders engagement and the community it is a critical to effective conservation initiative. So we can think of gender in the same way, understanding who the users are, men, women, boys and girls, everyone, and involving them in consultations as well, decisions making and building on their ecological knowledge help contribute to positive conservation outcomes. So without that, the project is expected to increase and sustainable harvest or management. So just imagine if a conservation initiative cuts off access to the forest where you collect food for your family because you are not, of course, consulted. So you are likely going to continue entering that forest and collect what you did before, effectively undermining the intended conservation outcome. So in short, that's what I'm going to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Grace. You really raised a very important point in the conservation dialogue, I think in every dialogue, like where the women of our world stands and how important it is, gender inclusiveness. So on continuing with that, I would like to ask Bharath, as he have been working in the Indian grounds for so long. So what do you think in a men's perspective? Where do women stand, or what is gender inclusiveness in our conservation dialogue?
Yeah, whatever whatever the other speakers told was really right, especially when we consider climate action or the conservation aspect. Women are at the forefront always, because it's from my experience. Because whatever whoever I was worked with, like I was working with, and most of them, I think the more than 75% are women, and they are proactive in taking action. Look, whenever, because I had done some buddy bottle campaign to decrease the use of plastic water bottles, or this throwaway culture. So at that time, we could get good response from women's colleges or girls' schools. So that shows the the approach of women in taking positive action for the conservation of the environment. And if you consider the mainstream activist of from India, like whoever it is, starting from Sugita Kumari from our own state, and Vandana Shiva, Dr. Vandana Shiva, Metha Patkar, if you and now if you consider the world scenario, the teenager Greta Thunberg herself, she always women are very prone, they are anyway, women and children, and the considered as the vulnerable community when you consider climate crisis. So they know, like we used to pronounce like Mother Earth. So as as that pronunciation, as that word says, they are considering it as it is part of us. Nature is part of us, and they are taking steps to conserve the nature. So that's what I have seen across all across the my activities. And recently, if you say the case of whatever activists, whatever in the area of Africa also, my speaker, co-speakers, they were telling they are from African countries and all. The case of Wangari Maathai also, Green Belt movement. We know that, like whatever, wherever we are looking at, the role of women is really important, because they are the real leaders, and they are very sincere in their actions. That's what I would say. Like when women are in the action part, almost whenever I would I would like to highlight this point. We are now talking about climate finance, and we need investment, and we need finance to fund the conservation activities. So in the conservation active, when finance involved, we are doubting corruption in that. So when women are there on board, I think the corruption will be decreasing, and the action will be more, and we will get more climate or disaster resilient infrastructure in a positive way. That's what I believe. Really, I strongly believe in that. Women can play a major role in climate action, whatever it is. I have been seeing many women in my life, for saving the especially when we talk about vegan, whenever we talk about climate action and all, we used to highlight this vegan culture also. I have seen many women who has already taken this vegan behavior or vegan lifestyle in vegan lifestyle. So like Sali Verma, she works with with some organization, major organization. They are working towards this animal conservation, and especially into vegan and all. And I have seen many women. I think 90% of the volunteers are women. Like whenever we work with disaster action, when Kerala floods happened in 2018. So from that time onward, we the Kerala people started talking about climate action or climate change, or the environmental degradation, everything. So at that time also, whenever we are inviting some applications, or whenever we are giving some notifications about our projects and all, we are getting applications from women candidates. So I see a real change. It is not like a male domination. It is like a female female domination. That's not the right word. Female, they are leading. Their leadership is, it is really evident. Wherever you go, it is really evident in in the area of climate action. So that's what we are seeing in the world scenario also. Whatever Jacinda Ardern, she declared climate emergency, and in US also under the vice presidentship of Kamala Harris, they could do really well in terms of climate action. So yeah, it's really changing. Women leader, we need more women leadership. That's what I would say. Like I would I urge more women from the community to come forward and act for the environment, because if you lead, people will follow you, and more followers will be there, and more actions will be there. At the end of the day, we can conserve the environment. That's what I work with women scientists. Currently, I'm doing research. I work with women scientists, and they are really making a difference. And they can make the difference. If they can make the difference, everybody can follow that difference, and everybody can follow that change they highlight, or they project. And ultimately, we the people can make a difference, and everybody can make a difference. So that's what I believe. Women should come to the forefront, and they should act, and they should urge people to come forward and work for the environment. That's what I say. Thank you.
Thank you, Bharath. Thank you. That was a lot of faith in women, and I think it comes from his personal experience. And I would really like to ask Patience also, because in the past summit, I have heard Patience sharing with us that most of the conservationists, the famous conservationist and his personal conservationist are women. So I would like to know what Patience thinks about gender inclusiveness in conservation dialogue, especially in African. Patience, can you hear me?
I'm searching network.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Okay, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, good.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you again. Actually, when you talk about the sustainability, when you're doing the project, just what is the sustainability of your project? So the sustainability become from when you work with local government or local leaders, so that they can protect what you have done. So that is mean when you talk about if you need sustainable environmental protection, if you need sustainable conservation, it's just to engage the women. The women are the root environmental protection, not a group, not organization, just everyone. So that is me. As we work with the young people, the women are the mothers of those young people. Those are the people who stay always with those children. Those are the people who always take a risk to take care to those children, even in the conservation, to help them to work, to make homework. So that's why if the women is always be engaged in the conservation, that's why will be the roots of everything. Last time someone asked me why I said my many role models are conservationists. I'm working with Rwanda National Park, including to protect the mountain gorilla at the Volcano National Park, where I work with Diana for Funds. Most people who work in those organizations are the women, and they work something which is incredible. So even though where I work at Ishwati, we have more than 200 women. So those women, if you say what they have done, what they have reached, you realize that the women are the moderator, especially in conservation. Again, not that the woman is the people who are taking a risk to collect the firewood in the forest where they can be killed with the animals. They take a risk when they're cooking by using firewood. So they are are them who are exposed to the carbon dioxide, which is harmful to their daily life. So that is why as the Eco Art, we decided to engage those women as the moderator, as the key of environmental protection, so that they will help us also to reach to the children. Even though we meet to the children at their schools, but when the children reach at home, also the mothers take time to tell how they can take time how they can engage, to be engaged or to start to preserve or conserve the nature. Another things which I can add, I was talking about how cooking. They take main time in the kitchen by cooking, by preparing the meals here, especially here in Africa. So they will do something what kitchen garden. So when you start by telling them, you can start by preparing kitchen garden, so with your children, and then show him how can start by preparing nursery trees for fruits, and then explain the reason why they need the fruit at the day life. So even those children also will be grown by thinking about the trees. So what's happening when I plant the trees? But the source of information, the main source of information, it's her mother, not at school. So that is why here in Rwanda, is at my own part, even though I quite with a part of engaging the children in the conservation. Also, we engage the mothers, so as the source of information, or to help us to deliver the message to the children and to reinforce what they have learned and help them to practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Patience. It is really, really nice to see like how our like global or big ideas are actually coming again into that small ideas, how we educate our mothers, how we educate our families, how we include children, how we include youth, and how we look into even smaller things like adding, having a awareness on cooking fuel or having a kitchen garden. And it's so wonderful to hear from all. And also I would like to ask Victor, actually, we cannot, move on with the discussion without discussing the Earth Charter. So, as an Earth Charter fellow, I would like to ask Victor, how was your experience, and what all principles of Earth Charter influenced you?
Okay. Thank you so much. Permit me to stay off the camera, please.
Sure.
Hope I'm permitted, Gresham. Okay. Thank you. Being an EarthCharter Young Leader has been fulfilling and mind transforming. Let me use that statement. I think it was during the course we had with EarthCharter that I got to the LSC course, which I took, that is on leadership, sustainability, and ethics. The course opened me up to the reality that human and nature are interdependent. I read environmental science, and we just did it. We understood what it was saying. But the consciousness that man and nature are interdependent became a reality there. So one thing that EarthCharter does is, you are free to come the same way you are, but upon taking any course related to EarthCharter, either LSC, systems thinking, eco-literacy, ESD, that is education, sustainability, development, all those courses, at the end of the day, it transforms you into a better person. And the goal is you convert conscience into action. It does not just stop into just gaining the knowledge. It goes back into what? Turning those conscience into what? Action. What needed to be done right needed to be fixed right. So EarthCharter, as an organization or as a system, has provided solution in raising young people who become solution to their environment. So we have a great role to play over here. And this role is, you come, take the course, any course of your choice, And the end of it is you are transformed. And that is where you now bring into turning conscience into action. So whatever you've learned, you turn it into action. There was a time we got talking with Greshma, and she could share experiences of some of the things of how she got knowledge from EarthCharter and the rest. And now we have a platform is created from what she has gotten, and we have Eco Peace. And honestly, every day I think about the concept of Eco Peace, I see success. In the next 20 years, you will hear people that Eco Peace Think Cafe have raised, and they are also turning conscience into action, because she also did what? Turn the conscience, the knowledge which she's learned, and it's now becoming what? Action, which bettered what? Eco Peace Think Cafe. So it's a bigger community where everyone is welcome to partake in various courses there. So one thing EarthCharter does is it transforms your mind and make you see reasons that some things can be norm in the society, but they are not supposed to be. We have a role to play to make the world a better place. That role involves me, involves you, and involves everyone. So the world needs to be in a better place, but we cannot achieve this if our mindset is not adjusted into the real stuffs. So it's a wider scope, and there are a lot of courses being taken there. So I advise those who have not really partaken in any of the courses, should after this, just go to their website, just type in EarthCharter. You should see it broad. Take courses, participate in it. It's awesome moment. And I want to let you know that you will never regret partaking in any of the courses. EarthCharter is a place that built me, and I've never regretted being. I think I took my course earlier last year, but I want to let you know that what I've achieved over then in my 12 years of being into the environmental field, it has been a total mindset transforming. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing a lot of the calls coming in from this platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. And actually, I'm really happy to have to talk to you all about all. We have touched a lot of topics from you to gender inclusiveness and even EarthCharter. So I would like to ask all of you a last note on, like, what do you think about making conservation as a lifestyle, and what do you really have to reflect on to our audience, especially young people? Maybe we'll start with Grace, if she can hear me. Grace, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but can you just repeat the question?
Yes, sure. What do you think of making conservation as a lifestyle, and what do you really have to tell to the young people who are listening this?
Yeah, so what I would say is that I will still take a stand, like to say, when you're talking about the biodiversity conservation, it's the issue for everybody else. Everybody has to get involved in the biodiversity conservation, and the youth should be on the forefront, not when it comes to the volunteering, because most of the activities in which youth are involved in it's through volunteerism. And I heard this one guy sending a message to COP26 saying you should involve youth even in decision making, not only in volunteering. So I would also encourage everyone, youth, everyone, women and men, older people, to involve youth, and every young girl or young boy should have that heart to get involved in all aspects when it comes to biodiversity conservation, starting from the volunteering, whether we are doing we have to do some research, or whether we have to do some activism. We should all involve in all aspects of biodiversity conservation, including in the decisions making. So that's what I would say as my final word. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
So much, Grace. It was really nice hearing from you. And Bharath?
Yeah. Conservation should be part of our life. That's what I also believe in, because it was part of our, if you check all the civilizations also, it was part of their, life. It should be part of the life. It is not the extra thing we have to do. It's a part of, if you check, check, or if you read Indian Constitution also, in that, the people is always eloquent about their, rights. But in our Indian Constitution, it is, it is clearly saying that it is the duty of every citizen to conserve environment. So, it's part of a duty. Like, we have to do that. No rules is required. No, SOP is required, or new, some imposing from the government is not also required. It's a duty in the Constitution that we have to conserve the environment. So, I also believe in my Constitution, and I would say, like, it is part of each and every citizen to conserve environment, or live in harmony with the environment. And a responsible citizen can be real climate activist or an environmentalist. Because if you start a journey from your home, and if you are planning for a long journey, if you are carrying your steel water bottle or reusable water bottle, and you are carrying a cloth carry bag, and you are carrying your own tumbler, and if you are just, if you are not throwing after having toffee, if you are not throwing the wrapper of that toffee, you are it is somewhat a responsible citizenship also. If you are responsible in your behavior, you can be an environmentalist. You can be, ultimately, you are respecting the nature, and you are respecting other people, and you are not harming in the environment, and you are not harming the rights of others, and you are not harming anybody. So that's what I believe. So it was part of our lifestyle, and it should be part of our current lifestyle. And if that's what I would say always, like, we should always stick into minimalism. We have to minimize our deeds, as our father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, rightly quoted. Like, earth has enough to satisfy everybody's need, not for deed. We have to we can fulfill our needs, but not deeds. Like, we are it is not required for a normal life. So that's what I will also suggest. We can be the change. And I always go to our Mahatma Gandhi whenever I would interact with I interact with people, like, because he has said everything, like, be the change you should see in the world. And we can be the change. We can be the change makers. And we can really make a change in this world, beautiful planet. And for the people and the planet, we have to make all these things, behavioral change, part of our normal life. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bharath. That's a great reflection, actually. And also, I was reading yesterday that when you can really carry a 500-gram mobile phone in your pocket, you can easily carry a reusable bag in your pocket. You'll never be knowing that you are carrying. So I also really urge everyone to do your thing, do your small part and make it a bigger change. And I would like to move to Patience. Patience, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. So what is your concluding note? Like, should we be making the conservation our lifestyle? And what you really need to tell to the young people?
Thank you again. Actually, it was my pleasure to be here with you, everyone. I get many ideas, and I learn many things which I can improve in my works, where I conduct my project in a community surrounding one of the national parks. But I have something to add, especially regarding to engaging. When you talk about engaging youth in conservation, also we need to think about the brainpreneur.
Excuse me, Patience.
I think how to also start the business by thinking about the climate change. I think it's network.
Yes, I
Can
think
you hear
you
me
can.
now?
Yes, I think you can put your video off so that we can hear you better.
All right, let me try. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So something is that's about to teach the young people to start business, to be innovative by thinking about the climate change. Because when we start to think about nuclear industry, when you start to think about establishing industry which is destroy our environment, it's also be the problem and the future generation, not the only. So that should be good if we start to teach also our neighbors, our young generations we are, to start today by thinking the business which is environmental friendly. This will be helpful to our future, not the only. Thank you.
Thank you, Patience. And Victor?
Okay, thank you so much, Echo Peace Teen Cafe, for this wonderful opportunity to be part of the panelists. The world is so simple. We can add local in our own small way to make the world a better place. That is the only thing we have to leave for our future generation. We have a great role to play, and I look forward to seeing great turnout where we can act locally and act in our own small way to make this world a better place. Thank you so much, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be part of the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd also like to thank Grace, Victor, Patience, and Bharath to accept our invitation and join our summit. And now the floor is open for reflections and questions, if you have any. So please feel free to interact with our panelists.
All right. Mine is not a question, but it's just a comment or just a little information that I just want to add up to the information that we have been sharing. Actually, on the issue of conservation, we are discussing on the roles of youth in conservation. I actually believe that if we will prioritize education, as we already suggested, that could be a greater impact and to the conservation of environment. I believe that youths are better in understanding concepts than others. Normally here in Africa, whenever we came up with initiatives that will facilitate the conservation of environment, it happens that others do think like maybe whosoever is coming up with those suggestions is having maybe that idea of giving them something. So what I'm trying to say is we have to educate youth that they have to understand the importance of conserving the environment. Because if and only if they understand why are they supposed to conserve environment, is when they will have that passionate heart to work towards that. As suggested by Baba Dion, I quote that word where he say, in the end, we will conserve what we love, and we will love what we understand, and we will understand what we are taught. So our task is to educate youths that they should understand, because we believe with their understanding, they will be able to love the environment. And upon loving the environment, that will become their heart, that will become their lifestyle. They will be working towards that. Destroying environment will be something that will anger them, that will maybe make them feel furious about that. So we have to prioritize education, as we already suggested by our colleagues from Nigeria, Rwanda, and whatsoever, that these youths should really understand. Because with that, I believe in the future generation, this issue shall be sorted out. But otherwise, if you just be talking to those people who are maybe already mature, they don't take these things seriously. But we have to prioritize these youths. And I believe in that things can work. That's what I want to comment.
Thank you so much, Wilson. Thank you so much for sharing your reflection. And we had with us Miss Morgana, and I think she left us now. I think she have left. So I would like to really ask Father Prasad about his reflections on the discussion we had.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Father.
Yeah, so hello to everyone. I'm so happy to be part of this discussion. Sorry that I was late. So I am a Catholic monk and living in a monastery. So we had our prayers. So that's why I had to come a little bit late. I participated in 2 cafe discussions and I'm very new to your group. I'm so happy that so many youth leaders from all over the world are coming up. Actually, I follow very much Elon Musk and his plan for the migration to Mars, etc. I have also booked one virtual ticket for 2026. And just out of curiosity, but very often I feel when I read Stephen Hawking or Elon Musk, I feel that they have almost given up our Earth, Mother Earth, or they give an impression that no hope. But here, youth from all over the world, so give a lot of hope, and we have to spread this hope all over the world. We know that we are living in a consumeristic society, and we have to go back to become a conservative, in the sense, conserving the environment. Conservative society, our Mother Earth gives us food and water, and we have to preserve it, conserve it for the future. Once I visited Singapore to visit one of my friend, one priest, one monk, and he took me around, and I was so happy to see that they don't what's called utilize the water, the resource, water resource too much as other countries do. They preserve it for the future generation. That is a wonderful example. So I think this sense of conserving our Mother Earth has to be taught and discussed very much in the family and also in the school. I think these are the 2 places. We know that it takes place in UN and it takes place in almost all the international leaders whenever they come together, and the youth and children's and representatives, etc. But we know that it is useless. Now they are preparing for a new war. If they had any sense of environment, they will never do it. It's just ego and competition. So I think the future is in the schools, and future is in you, in the youth. And this conserving the Mother Earth should become also a discussion in the families. So I don't have much expectation from the governments or those responsible who have to do it. So now it is coming from down, so it is ascending. So far we were expecting a descending process, but now it is this ascending process. So I am also in charge of interfaith dialogue in Kerala, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Kerala. So very much involved in dialogue. So this environment dialogue is something new for me. So thank you very much. So happy to listen to every one of you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Father. I would like to invite Greshma, who is the founder of Ecopeace Teen Cafe, to share a few words.
Thanks, Arya. And when I listen to all of you, I'm really happy to learn more from you. And I know Grace, Victor, and Patience before, and knowing Bharath more about his Climatehood works and talking about Green Protocol. And I also heard about Green Protocol during the National Games time, and knowing more from Bharath gives me lots of knowledge. And thanks for sharing that, Bharath. And Victor, yes, he mentioned about EarthCharter, it's really transformed me. And I always share that I never talk about environment before EarthCharter. So my life is kind of before EarthCharter and after learning about EarthCharter. So it's really transformed me. And then I it really enlightened me and gives me the information about how to protect Earth and how we can restore the ecosystem. So, from the preamble of EarthCharter itself, gives me the inspiration to start Eco Peace Teen Cafe. So, thank you so much for sharing about EarthCharter in this panel, and it's very important. And even EarthCharter wrote before 20 years, and it's still relevant. And we have to carry the EarthCharter principles as a commandment, and we have to follow that. So I really encourage you all to read EarthCharter principles. And also thanks to Grace and Patience for your sharings. And yeah, like we all are so blessed to hear your words, and we really encourage you to take actions more, and please share that actions with us so we can also learn from you and we can also implement our part of the world. So thank you once again, and thank you so much.
I would really like to thank all the participants who have joined to hear us. From bottom of my heart and on behalf of Eco Peace Teen Cafe, I thank everyone for coming, taking out your time and joining us. Thank you so much, and have a good night, good morning, and good evening. Take care.